Well, guess what? It's the weekend, and when it's the weekend, we all know that it's time to go out to the left coast and talk to Michael Snyder. Where are you today? In Hollywood?
I am. I'm still in the entertainment capital of the world, and I swear one of my resolutions is to not call it that. It seems so arrogant. And answering my phone, hooray for Hollywood, is just, it's not too cool. I apologize for that in advance. I'll continue doing it, but I swear I'm going to try to stop. Anyway, yeah, the rains have kind of tailed off a little bit down here, and never as bad as the Bay Area, so I'm glad that I missed the cold front up there. But we're plowing into the holiday season. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing okay. Yeah, surviving.
I hear tell you're getting some screeners, some award screeners for consideration as a member of SAG, right?
Yep. So I'll get to see some of the films I didn't see. You know, I kept saying to girlfriend over the year, we really shouldn't go see this. I'll probably get a screener. And so the difference between getting a screener is free versus the cab fare, the movie cost, the popcorn, all the attendance. I figure it costs us about $60 to go see a movie, and we're seniors.
Wow. But now you can lounge around in your smoking jacket, and she can sip a martini, and you can watch,
Exactly.
So anyway, it turns out, because of the big Sony hack, I am one of a handful of people to have seen The Interview.
Oh, okay. So I hope you're going to review it now.
Well, I don't know. I think maybe we should wait a little bit. I don't want Kim Jong-un chasing my ass down.
No. I think that Sony are such pussies that I'm going to avoid all their movies next year, just to penalize them.
It's gutless, man. I mean, already the South Park guys made a mockery of Kim Jong-un's dad in that movie Team America. Man, South Park does more vicious and crazy stuff.
There was a movie theater, I think, down in Arizona, who, in protest to all of this, got a print of Team America and played it in their theater.
Yeah, good. Glad to hear it. Well, this says very unpleasant things about censorship, and if you're going to start squelching satire, even, are you ready? This is the review, bad satire, like this unfunny piece of dung, which only amused me when it took pot shots really at cable news pundits and geeks like Bill O'Reilly. Yeah. And incidentally, even as it did so, James Franco, an actor who I do like in a lot of stuff, was really not the right guy to play the Bill O'Reilly character. It's not rollicking good fun. There are a few laughs. It's heavy-handed. Seth Rogen has only entertained me in 3 films, and he's made considerably more. The films being Knocked Up, This Is the End, maybe the best thing from all these geeks and freaks. And I kind of liked Neighbors, mostly for Rose Byrne as his wife, who was out of character. The Interview just was not funny. Is it problematic for a patriotic American? No, because it shows what a lying, devious, two-faced weasel the North Korean head of state is. That plays right into the hands of even the far right. Is it a problem because it's unfunny? Yes, it is. And, when we start doing this, we have to think for a second. Charlie Chaplin did a movie called The Great Dictator. And in that film, he made a very obvious attack on Adolf Hitler. Different name. The swastika isn't there. It's a different symbol. But it was so overtly and obviously Hitler. Nobody complained about that. Hey, listen, take down the totalitarians. No problem. Hey, do it funny next time.
Yeah, but, I think that they are being screaming little cowards. And did you read Aaron Sorkin's op-ed piece in the Times?
It seems self-serving. Scott Rudin is some buddy of his, and I believe he was one of the producers of The Newsroom. And I hear Scott Rudin is a piece of work, and I don't mean work.
Yeah, well, but the point is that nonetheless, he was very right, that this was not important enough to get this much news, and that the people who made the hack work were the news people who reported it and reported all the little things that were found out, and the Rudin memos and the Pascal memos and things like that. And
it's true.
Aaron Sorkin was absolutely correct. Yes, but he admitted that he had a working relationship in that op-ed with Scott Rudin.
I noticed that, and then I noticed his name at the end of the newsroom finale, Rudenstein. Look, you know what? The bottom line is exactly what you said. The movie chains and Sony are displaying great cowardice here. They're gutless, and I hate to think that something like this would kind of prevent satirists from going full bore.
This also shows what pussies Americans are. You know, that we will run screaming when somebody... I mean, to begin with, I don't think this came out of North Korea. Yes, the government is saying it's a North Korean plot. I don't believe that. I think it's some guy who worked at Sony with a thumb drive or, who threw a bunch of stuff onto a thumb drive and then started releasing all this material and pretending and acting like he was a North Korean, singling out the interview as his main target, But
maybe we'll find out. I don't know.
Well, but most of all, I mean, you're talking about a country that can't even turn its lights on at night. Okay, they're not sophisticated enough to do this kind of a hack. So
they might have hired somebody. Hey, look, you know what? We don't really know. Maybe we'll find out. In the meantime, what it does show is that the state of satire in the United States is in danger. And also, in the case of this movie, the bar is set very low for satire.
You know what I would have done if I was Sony. I would have said, we do not bow to terrorists. No, we're not going to let our movie theaters put themselves in jeopardy if they feel that's what's happening. We're going to take this movie and we're going to take a big financial bite out of it. We're going to release a torrent and you can all download it for free.
That would be great.
But they won't do that because you know why they don't want to release it either as a DVD or they don't want to release it onto cable or anything like that? Because the minute they do, they can't get the insurance money. That's the reason they're not releasing it, is for the insurance money.
Pathetic. Well, speaking of pathetic, let's look at a few films we've got here. The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies, is the third in the Peter Jackson Hobbit trilogy, where he takes the slimmest volume imaginable, the prequel to The Lord of the Rings, which was a massive epic set of 3 books that he made into very, very long, and I thought very, very good films, and stretches the skinny little volume out to 3 bloated films. Yikes. And since he first scored big with The Lord of the Rings, you're waiting for him to do whatever he can with the property. And he's sort of been making a habit of doing these movies. I've had to habitually see them and review them, much to my chagrin. Finally, if we're lucky, it's all over. And it all ends, or begins, since it's the prequel of the other films, on a comparatively high note. Yes, this was a plot across Middle-earth with Bilbo Baggins, played by Martin Freeman, and his dwarf buddies, many of whom are familiar faces from British television and film. In one case, two of the principal characters in The Missing were dwarves in the band of brothers here that Bilbo accompanies to the dwarf king stronghold, and they face dragons, and you got Benedict Cumberbatch as the voice of Smaug the dragon, etc., etc. But the truth is, this seemed a little shorter and punchier than the previous 2 installments of the Hobbit, and the best thing about this was clearly Martin Freeman, and the best thing to come out of it, as far as I'm concerned, was the Saturday Night Live skit a week ago, The Office Middle-earth, which I thought nailed both the British version of The Office.
I thought that was a terrible sketch.
I loved it. I thought it was very funny. Hate is going to hate. I thought it was very funny and better than the Hobbit movies. Come on, at least admit it. It's better.
I'll tell you. I got to tell you, I didn't mind the first one. The second one, we walked out saying that was damn good. And most of the reviewers, except for yourself, are saying this is a terrific little film.
This is a better film than the first one. The second one I thought was okay. I didn't feel as ripped off by the second one. I feel like if you like these sort of things, you're going to go see them. And you do have a really wonderful cast stretching out. But I felt such a sense of relief when it was over. Of course, you got the dignity and the grandeur of Ian McKellen as Gandalf, and you've got Richard Armitage as Thorin in this thing. He's very important. But here's a consumer alert for you: no Gollum this time out. No Gollum. That's right. Kate Blanchett, sure, no Gollum. Evangeline Lilly, woo woo, no Gollum. Anyway,
wasn't Stephen Colbert supposed to be in this somewhere?
If he is, I didn't see him. Maybe a CGI Stephen Colbert, because in fact there are, of course, gigantic CGI armies with gigantic CGI monsters fighting across a CGI plane. Night at the Museum: Secret of the Tomb is also the third part of a trilogy. Woo! This is some kind of theme we've got going here. Well, anyway, as you know from the other two films, if you've seen either of them, Larry, played by Ben Stiller, is a hapless security guard at the Museum of Natural History who finds out that through some kind of magic, all the exhibits in the museum come to life after dark when everyone goes away, including the statue of Teddy Roosevelt, played in all three films by the late Robin Williams, a couple of miniature diorama habitués, played in the case of the Cowboy by Owen Wilson, and the Roman Centurion, played by Steve Coogan. The former guard is played by Dick Van Dyke, still alive and kicking, and it's kind of sad. We see Mickey Rooney hauled out here in the third of the museum movies, and we see Robin Williams, both of whom have shuffled off this mortal coil. But this film is kind of like the other two, and better than the second in a lot of ways, as the exhibits are shipped to the British Museum along with the magical tablet that brings everything to life, thereby bringing all these exhibits in the British Museum to life. Because it's the British Museum, we do get a small role performance by the now inescapable Rebel Wilson. Ricky Gervais is back as the head of the Natural History Museum in New York. Ben Kingsley shows up as an Egyptian ruler. You get Dan Stevens of Downton Abbey is Sir Lancelot, and you get a couple cool cameos. There were moments. I mean, it's a bargain matinee. If you like this stuff, it's going to be okay. But, I'm done with this, and thank God they appear to be done with it too. Mm-hmm. Ben Stiller, it's not that he wore out his welcome, but he cranks out a lot of stuff that I don't care about at this point as a lead actor. I thought that his Walter Mitty film was an abomination. This is fun for the family. That's the best I can say about it. And you do get kind of a cute little cameo at the end by a pretty renowned performer who's not billed. Annie is pretty irredeemable. It's an update of the musical Annie with a number of new songs and with a kind of non-traditional casting approach that actually becomes the point of the movie. It's modern day. You get basically Jamie Foxx playing the Daddy Warbucks character called Will Stax, who is a cell phone magnate running for New York mayor. Mm-hmm. You get Venzani Wallace, the cute little girl from Beasts of the Southern Wild, as Annie. You get Rose Byrne as Will Stax's kind of faithful companion. Bobby Cannavale as his campaign manager, who's sort of unscrupulous, and as the evil Miss Hannigan, who oversees a handful of orphans to get the money from the government. Cameron Diaz, terribly miscast. There's a lot of auto-tune on the singing. To me, it just was like, it's Black Annie is what it is, not to go too heavily into the whole racial aspect of it. And, the kid is cute, but I just thought, the hip-hop Annie did not impress me very much. Okay, how about a great film? Maybe one you like, maybe one you won't. Writer-director Mike Leigh does a biopic exploration of the last 25 years of the life lived by the venerated eccentric British painter J.M.W. Turner. This is called Mr. Turner.
This is one of the films, by the way, that was released by the Hackers.
It's generated talk of Oscar nominations for Leigh and the film star Timothy Spall. And Leigh's received serious Oscar attention before for these modern ensemble dramedies that are about the travails of regular British folk, like Life is Sweet, Secrets and Lies. There's a two-sided coin with the movie Naked about a misanthrope, and Happy-Go-Lucky about a woman who always sees the positive side of things. He's a wonderful director. He did the 50s kitchen sink drama Vera Drake, and Mr. Turner was the sort of studied, introspective period work I've come to expect from Leigh since Topsy-Turvy, which was about Gilbert and Sullivan and all the operettas they did. Mm-hmm. But the latter was actually kind of lively with a larger ensemble and a theatrical setting. Spall is superb in this thing, and the rest of the cast is right on it. This is about an aging man in the last part of his life. So it's accordingly elegaic. I mean, it's never dull, and it's long, and it's got deliberate pacing, but it's a beautiful, studied film. I like Topsy-Turvy a little better, but this guy, he's one of the great filmmakers of the day. So I say, Mr. Turner, if this sounds of interest to you, I think you'll be very, very delighted by it. Okay, kind of the sexiest, most unexpected film I've seen in a long time is The Duke of Burgundy, and I'm still not sure where it gets this title, but it's about the sort of dysfunctional relationship between two kind of hybrid women who, in fact, enact mistress and servant all the time as part of their relationship. It's pretty sexy stuff. I mean, when it was done, I thought, wow, that was like Lady Chatterley's submissive lesbian. I mean, it was crazy in that regard, and it's so beautifully shot by the director Peter Strickland, who did another film called Berberian Sound System that got some attention about a year or two ago. Mm-hmm. And I don't know any of the actors or actresses, if you will, but this whole thing about sadomasochism is done with such art and done so beautifully and erotically that it was hard to turn your eyes away from the screen. And I'm not trying to be kind of lowbrow about this, but it was incredibly sexy. I don't know how wide it's going to get released, but I do know New York and LA are going to see The Duke of Burgundy, and I saw it just yesterday and thought, wow, what an impressive piece of filmmaking. Set in the 60s, set in a rural area, but wow, that's all I'm going to say. Song of the Sea is a pretty terrific animation from the guy who did The Secret of Kells. It's all about a kid who discovers what appears to be a selkie, a baby from the sea, and it looks beautiful, and maybe it's not going to get wide coverage like the Lego Movie, but it's a pretty fantastic animated film from corners that we don't often visit. And finally, Sagrada, the Mystery of Creation, all about the building of the Sagrada Familia Church, which was designed by the great architectural master Antoni Gaudi. And this is pretty amazing, and it's kind of a PBS. It's a little dry, but I love. I
love that church. So
me too, and for me, it's really fascinating stuff. You know, we learn all about the people who worked on it, the artisans, the designers, other architects who continued his work. It's unfinished, and it's been they've been building it since the late 19th century, 125 years. So, you know, this documentary, it's special interest stuff, but it's something I'm interested in. Sagrada, the Mystery of Creation. Anything else popping, buddy?
No, nothing's TV? Popping. It's TV time. Nothing on TV. All the good shows are asleep for the winter. And
did you tuck them in?
I tucked them in. Yeah.
Give them a cup of cocoa.
Yeah. So we're busy watching Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip. Which was Aaron Sorkin's one-season show, and it's full of that wonderful Aaron Sorkin writing. So you can't, Do you realize that of the 4 TV shows that Sorkin has done, 3 of them have been about TV?
Well, my favorite one is still Sports Night, but I enjoyed Studio 60 on the Sun. Studio 60? Is that what the number was?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I always thought that Harriet, the character that's supposed to be sort of a stand-in for Kristen Chenoweth, was miscast as an actress who I find talented, but I didn't really buy her as the ex-girlfriend of the Matthew Perry character.
She wasn't short enough.
There you go. No, but she's a pretty good actress. She's in American Horror Story and a variety of other things. She's getting awards and nominations. Her name escapes me, but
Sarah Paulson.
Sarah Paulson. That was, to me, the big flaw in the series, other than the fact that maybe it was too inside baseball. But I will reiterate that The Missing, which I believe is on Starz.
Okay, you plugged it 3 weeks in a row. Enough is enough already.
I love it. It finally ended in the UK. I can't wait for it to finally end here in the States. Wink, wink.
Yeah. Well, I haven't watched it yet, so I'll let you know if I ever get around to it.
Hey, what have you watched in discs yet? Anything, or did everything just come for you? All the stuff that we've been talking about.
No, I haven't gotten any discs yet. So, well,
you haven't watched the SAG screeners.
Yeah, I said that I haven't gotten them yet.
Oh, they're coming.
Yes.
Well, it's going to be a Christmas present for Alex.
It's going to be a very nice one. Yeah.
Well, listen, have a happy holiday, everybody. I don't know whether we'll be back. Maybe we'll do a Christmas thing.
No, I think we'll probably see you next year, actually.
Well,
because we're taking almost 2 weeks off. We're taking, 10 days, 11 days off. So we're going to run a lot of programming here, but we're not going to be live at all. And it'd be hard to insert you into all of that. You know, you
Well,
just
listen,
get lost in the middle of it. So
recharge your batteries. We'll check you in the new year. Again, happy holidays to everybody on the Great American Broadcast
Is there
Network.
anything we should look for during the holidays that you didn't review today?
Yeah, probably. I would suggest that one of the things you can probably expect in terms of great stuff would be, not seeing the interview. That'll be exciting.
Yeah.
You won't be seeing the interview. I guess Unbroken is coming, and it's an okay docudrama about Olympian Louis Zamperini and his experiences in World War II, directed by that spoiled brat Angelina Jolie. Isn't that what they called her?
Yeah, right.
Into the Woods. I was singularly unimpressed with Into the Woods. Into the Woods is a film adaptation of Stephen Sondheim's somehow beloved musical, which is basically, I guess we could call it a dog's breakfast of fairy stories with a few good actors and some questionable special effects and mediocre Sondheim tunes. But James Corden and Emily Blunt and Chris Pine are in it and very good. And you can't go wrong with Meryl Streep as an old witch. Johnny Depp, pretty useless as the wolf. And, Anna Kendrick is the Cinderella character, miscast. So that one's out there. And The Gambler with Mark Wahlberg and a remake of a great film about Martin Luther King and the civil rights movement, Selma, which I recommend very highly. I also
thought
recommend
that movie
American Sniper.
I thought that movie was about Selma Diamond.
It's about Martin Luther King and the civil rights movement. And, oh, my God, David Oyelowo is so good as Martin Luther King. I do believe he's going to be getting some serious awards.
Well, I think maybe I'll go see Selma at the Magic Johnson Theater down the street, because we went to see 12 Years a Slave. When the lights came up, we didn't feel comfortable.
Come on. Tim Burton's best film in years, Big Eyes, all about the Keens, Walter Keane and his wife.
I knew them.
Margaret Keane. You knew those guys.
I knew both of them. I was at their apartment. I saw them working. And I think it's just wonderful when you completely shred a man apart who's dead. It's a very easy thing to do. No, I'm serious. I mean,
I get you.
I'm not defending Walter Keane. Because I always knew that Margaret was the genius of the two, and you could tell her paintings from his paintings. So the notion that he didn't do any of them is, I think, wrong, because I could tell the difference.
Well, Christoph Waltz as Walter Keane and Amy Adams as Margaret are terrific. American Sniper, Clint Eastwood's look at a sharpshooter, a Navy SEAL sharpshooter, real story, really wonderful film. And, there are a few others that we don't have to get into here, but there's stuff coming in the next week or so. Okay,
well, this has become a show in itself. Thank you, Michael. Tell them where they can find you.
I am on Twitter at Culture Blaster, and also at Facebook. You can find me at the Michael Snyder's Culture Blast page, where you can kind of link to these shows and other stuff, and like me, everybody.
Okay. And thank you, Michael. We'll see you next year.
You got it.
Okay, it's Michael Snyder, ladies and gentlemen.